There are so many different varieties of dumplings you can make and so many fillings. This one that I'm making is a shiitake and salmon dumpling with tofu. It works a treat. And I'm going to be using the dumplings to serve in a salad. So first up, shiitake mushrooms. These are dried shiitakes that I've placed in some hot water just to allow them to rehydrate and soften. Now some of these really large ones have woody stalks, so I'm taking them out. The smaller ones are completely fine. And now I'll place them into a food processor along with some ginger that I'll finely grate. So we want about a teaspoon of ginger, and I'll reserve the rest for our dressing later on. Now for some coriander, just the stalks of the coriander, I'll roughly chop, and we'll add that to our dumpling mix. Now I'll just pulse this 3 or 4 times. While that's happening, I can drain the salmon. All right, that is finely chopped, perfect. Now we can add our tofu. This is silken tofu. You can use a firm tofu for this, but I really want a creamy, soft finish for the filling, so silken it is. And then our lovely flakes of salmon, they can go in. Now for some seasoning, we'll add some soy for some saltiness. And I love sesame oil, so I'll add a few drops of that. Perfect. We need to balance it out with some sweetness, so some caster sugar. And then a good pinch of white pepper. And that's it, lid can go on, and I'll just pulse it 3 or 4 times. No more than that, because it will turn into a puree. All right, that is ready to go. Absolutely perfect. See how everything's chopped evenly? Now I'm going to have a taste just to make sure the seasoning's correct. You don't want to make all of your dumplings and realise it needs a little bit more soy or some sugar. So good. You know, you never think to put salmon in a dumpling, but it is just delicious. All right, now to make the dumplings. This is a really fun part. I'll get some wontons. I'm using square wontons, and I always start with 8 wontons at a time. I don't want to line my whole board with all the wontons because they will dry out. And then using a teaspoon, I'll get teaspoonful amounts of the filling, and we'll just fill the dumplings. Then I've got some water and a pastry brush, and just to ensure they stick nicely, we're just going to go around the sides with the brush and then fold the dumpling over into a triangle and then carefully press it together. And when you press it together, I always like to use both thumbs just to make a V shape around the filling. By doing that, we're taking out all of the air bubbles. And you can be a little bit fancy with them. You can twist them and make them into shapes, or you can leave them just as is. And when these are steamed, they just shrivel up a little bit. They're absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to keep it rustic for mine today. All right, it's time to steam these dumplings, and I've just got a bamboo basket, some simmering water underneath it, and I've also placed a piece of baking paper in the basket just to make sure that they don't stick. So in they go. Now all the ingredients inside the dumplings are cooked, so essentially we're just cooking that wonton dough. So we'll just make sure that we leave a little gap between each dumpling so they don't stick. So I'll just spread that out. And then we'll pop the lid on, and this will take about 3 to 4 minutes. Now for the quick salad, cabbage. I'm just going to cut that in half, and I'll just finely shred it. All right, now for our coriander, I'm just going to roughly chop it. And now for a quick dressing to go with this, some ginger, just on a fine grater into a bowl, along with some white vinegar, and some soy sauce, and then some more sesame oil. About half a teaspoon is plenty. Now we'll add the cabbage and the coriander, and then just with a spoon, coat everything in that dressing, and that's going to be the bed for our dumplings. Now let's have a look at these dumplings, see if they're cooked. Oh, look at them. They look fantastic. See how they've shriveled up in the center? Just perfect. Now I'll place a few of these hot dumplings on the salad. Just need about 3 per salad. And then a small amount of soy just over the top of each dumpling. There you have it, that's a dumpling salad. So delicious. You know, serving these dumplings in a soup is a great option. Even just serving these dumplings by themselves with a dipping sauce is yum. But try using these dumplings as a filler for a salad. It works a treat, and the salmon inside is such a great idea. You can also use tuna, so change it up depending on what you like.